This is a show about the path less taken. A show about a rocky path, a path of patience and persistence in equal measure. What you ultimately find down this path is a passion for live hardware music. Welcome to the Signal Path. Yes, we have rebranded. So we welcome, now I know your name, which is Ragav, but I've always struggled to pronounce your artist name. It's Braek.
Yeah.
Because I always say Braek.
No,
that's wrong, right?
Yeah, it's wrong, yeah.
Yeah.
It's Braek.
Braek.
Yeah.
Like as in break?
No, it was just a wordplay.
Yeah.
I came up with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Against break beats?
Yeah, sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Because my music leans towards that.
Yeah.
And also, when I moved here, it was very obvious the way people around here enunciate certain things.
Yeah, okay.
So it was always an AE. Anything with an E would sound like an A.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, and I was like, I was just playing with that.
Yeah, with the Aussie accent, like, yeah. Like Braek.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice, nice wordplay.
Yeah. And I didn't want it to be break. And at the same time, I wanted it to be simple and a bit of wordplay.
Yeah. And it is individual. Like, I don't know any other artists that's used, especially with the letters jumbled around.
Yeah. I think there is one, but he's not so active anymore.
Oh,
I found out about this when I released my first EP, and on Spotify there was someone else with the same name.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he hasn't been active for a while. But yeah, and he makes totally different music.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
My music can be a bit confusing, and I just want the name to be a bit confusing as well.
Yeah. Well, you worked on me, that's for sure. I want to go back to the start.
Yeah.
So tell us about how music has influenced you from your childhood through your teens and until now.
Yeah. I think I've always had an ear for music, I would say. Never really got into music schools. Never really got like professional music lessons.
You mentioned you're very much a sporting kid as opposed to music or anything like that. So you didn't have any music lessons and stuff like.
Yeah, I was totally into sports. I was either listening to music or playing outside. That's all I did.
Yeah.
While I was growing up, there was always music playing at home. My folks used to listen to all sort of music like Hindustani classical music, local South Indian, film music.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And my dad used to sing when he was younger.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he grew up kind of poor, so he couldn't really pursue his passion.
Yeah, right.
But he would tell me stories of how he would go on stage in school and like perform.
Yeah, okay. And he was good at it.
Yeah, he was really good at it. Yeah, but obviously, he had to work hard and raise a family. And it was the best of things like he did. Yeah. So he made that sacrifice.
Yes.
But then, I think my whole family, everyone's been in some way or the other.
Artistic?
Yeah, artistic, I would say. But no one really took that step because they had their own struggles.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, it was pretty good because I grew up in a lot of different places. We're traveling every 2 years because of my dad's work.
Yeah, you were saying that. Yeah, so you moved around the globe a lot.
Mostly around India.
Okay.
And once my dad started moving overseas, I went to a boarding school.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right. So it was your dad that went overseas?
Yeah, my family went overseas, like my mom, dad, and sister. But then I was in year 8 or 7, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I was already doing like the Indian curriculum. It might have been hard for me to like move again. So they just put me in one place for at least for like 4 years.
Yeah.
In boarding school, which was really good.
So you're in boarding school through your teens. What are you listening to? Like you're in your teens at this time. What are you listening to around this time? Like
mostly metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, metal, alternative rock, Yeah, that sort of stuff.
Iron Maiden. You mentioned Iron Maiden.
That was the first one I heard. Yeah, Iron Maiden, Metallica, and Deftones, and a lot of old school classic rock as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then really got into Dream Theater.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
And Tool.
There's the synths. Oh, I love Tool. Yeah,
yeah. And then I was always looking for music with beats and no vocals for some reason. I always had that itch to find like stuff. So I would find mixtapes of hip hop beats with no vocals, no lyrics on it. And there used to be these odd radio shows that used to play on air, and I used to quickly go and record it on my tape.
So when you say, was that on the internet, or was that like actually on the radio?
On the radio in India, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Late nights. So, always exploring music. I used to listen to a lot of different kind of stuff, Indian classical as well.
Yeah, well, the influence from your folks,
Yeah, absolutely,
right. Yeah, so in our earlier conversation, though, you mentioned you had a fight with cancer.
It wasn't cancer, but it was a benign tumor.
It was a benign tumor. Yeah. Oh, okay, right.
It was in my spine.
Yeah.
I was 18, I think.
Yeah. And this was where it's sort of at the height of your sporting, I suppose, career as well?
Yeah. So it happened, I don't know, I think it happened at the right time, I would say, in retrospect. I was in really good shape. I went to a sporting school like the last 2 years of my high school.
So your senior schooling was at a sporting school?
Yeah, I'm also focused towards like sports. It was a sporting academy.
Yeah.
So I should train for like 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
For like 2 years.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So I think that sort of like just trained me up to deal with my surgeries that I had.
Yeah. So you've gone into, you're really fit as a young man, and then this has come along. And how long did it put you out for? Did it put you out of playing sport for good, I suppose, or as a profession, or looking forward to that as a profession, or?
I was never looking forward to it as a profession, but I always saw myself playing a sport throughout my life.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because, I was really into it. And then I had this surgery out of nowhere, just came to me.
And how long did it put you out for?
For about 2.5 years. But I was in rehab. It took me like 2.5, 3 years to like get back. Just to, walk and do normal things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And during that time, did you do anything else? Like, was this is where art sort of crept into your life a bit more? And
yeah, I think so. Like, I had nothing to do and I was just blasting music at home, like the whole day.
Yeah.
Blast like really hardcore psytrance and, the really hard stuff.
Yeah.
Because, that's the only way I could expel my energy.
Yeah. So the discovery of psy and electronic music came before that then?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think one of my friends' cousin like slipped us a CD.
Yeah.
And they're like, you guys listening to, electronic music, but this is going to change your life. And then me and a bunch of friends. I grew up in a small town called Mysore. There's not much to do there. Not many clubs, not many events and such. So all we did was like just hunt for good music and hang out outdoors in nature.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
sit around a fire.
Yeah, sit around a fire, blast like music all night. Yeah.
So was it small enough a village that like pretty much everybody around your age knew each other and went to school and then so hang out after school and
Yeah, it was a small town. Yeah. And pretty much everyone knew everyone.
Yeah.
There. Yeah, it was a small community.
Yeah. So someone you knew came up and went, here's some here, listen to this.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it blew your mind.
Yeah. And then I was like hooked onto it. I thought every other music is bad.
So you've had your accident and you're blasting psytrance.
Yeah.
As a motivator.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. So I had to do like physio in bed, and I would do it like all day, and I would listen to music and like do it all day.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And around the same time, I think I was always interested in making music. I had a friend of mine who, this was in school, high school. He was like, my brother can play any instrument in the world. And I was like, what do you mean? I'll show you. And then we went back to his place, and then he's like, he just started writing music like in front of me using this software.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was coming up in one of my questions, but let's go on to it now. Yeah.
So I was like, what is this? And he's like, it's Fruity Loops. And I was like, where can I buy it? And I don't remember what he said. So I just went home and I told my dad, I need this software right now. We went to every bookstore because you used to get like CDs back in the day in bookstores in India.
Yeah.
Like these
Software CDs. Yeah.
So I went around hunting for it everywhere, but never could find it. And then I went into university, and then I met a friend of mine, and he's like, and he spoke about how he downloads like softwares of the internet, crack softwares. And I was like, can you give me Fruity Loops, this thing? And he's like, I use it. I was like, what? Then we went back to his place, and he showed me like 3 or 4 tracks that he had made already.
Right.
Yeah. He just he was in year 12, I think, when he did that.
Yeah. Okay. And you're in your teens still as well.
Yeah. I was like just 17
Yeah.
or 17. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I would sit around with him when he used to make music, just like watch what he's up to and stuff. And he wasn't really good at it because there was no tutorials, and so he was learning by himself.
Yeah.
So I would help him find like presets on synthesizers. Like, whoa, man, this is what Spangle used in this track, And it just kept going for a few. I think
you made music with him for a while.
Yeah, and I made music with him. I would just sit behind and watch him just tinker. He never finished music, so we would just be like, just messing around. Yeah, and then
you had your accident, and you're rehabbing.
Yeah.
And so during this time, was it after that time that you started with, because you got into Ableton at some point, I remember you saying.
Yeah.
Well, obviously you got your own first cracked Fruity Loops.
Yeah.
I mean, no, it wasn't cracked. I had one too. Before I started as well on the cracked Fruity Loops, right? You got to start somewhere, we both now own Ableton. See, it worked, right? So she got us into it with the crack stuff, and then we, get addicted, and now we spend money on it, right? Yeah. So you got your cracked version of Fruity Loops. Was that after the rehab? Was this when you were recovering, or?
Yeah. So after the rehab, I went to the Himalayas for like a hike just to see if I can push myself. And then I met this person.
After your rehab, you went to what? The Himalayas?
Yeah.
That's testing yourself.
Yeah, but I felt like I could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I really worked hard to start walking again. And so I did the right things.
That is a test, though. That's an intense test.
Because I had to kind of, prove to my parents that I could move out. I could live my own life.
Yeah.
They don't have to take care of me anymore.
Oh, okay.
Because they're always in the back of their head,
Yeah.
Like, oh man, this guy probably can't do much in life now. And, he's gone through so much. Let's just set up a shop for him, let him be home.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Nope.
So they sort of didn't want to let you go, and you wanted to prove to them that it's okay, mum and dad, I'm fine.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't that they didn't want to let me go. It was more they
didn't think they could.
Yeah, they didn't want to,
Yeah,
more
out of care for you.
Out of care
for
me, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
they didn't want me to do anything. Just whatever you're passionate about, just do it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I had plans. I was young, and everyone's chilling, and I'm in bed. And he just does your head in.
Yeah.
So you're like, man, I need to explore life now.
Yeah. So you took that large step.
Yeah.
Went for obviously a long hike, a testing hike.
Yeah.
That very fit people would do, I assume.
It was a decent hike. I did have a guide with me, and he knew my situation, so he was around. So I felt safe.
Yeah, okay.
But it's pretty secluded out there, and it was good. It was a 3-day hike.
Yeah.
3 nights, 4 days.
Yeah.
But I spent
hike.
Yeah, I spent 20 days in the mountains.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just thinking about what I want to be doing next. And
really?
Stuff.
Yeah.
Then I came down.
Psytrance going through your head at the time?
Yeah, sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And then I came down and started work. And then I met a friend of mine who was playing the Digeridoo.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, man, I need to learn this stuff. And then he taught me how to play. And then I started building mine with like PVCs. And then I got a bamboo one.
I was going to ask us, it's funny, you're getting into the questions I was going to ask. That was another one of my questions. So yeah, the didgeridoo, how did that, so a friend that you knew played did he have a proper wooden didgeridoo?
Yeah. So it's a funny story. Like this carpenter in Rishikesh, it's in the foothills of the Himalayas. He met a Aussie traveler.
Yeah, right.
Who was traveling around with his didge.
Yeah.
And he taught the carpenter how to play and how to make one.
Yeah,
and
right.
the carpenter started making one, and everyone who would pass by,
he
would make one for them and he'd teach them how to do it, right?
Oh, wow.
So my friend learned from this guy.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I need to go to this person and get one made.
Oh, right.
So I went to Rishikesh. But then by then I'd moved to Australia. I'd just gone back to India again for a holiday. For a holiday for like 2 months.
So you moved to Australia to study?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To do my...
We'll go back to that. But you've said, so you're in Australia studying, and the didgeridoo person, is that in Australia?
No.
Okay.
No.
So you met them beforehand, but you never really owned your own proper didgeridoo. It's funny that you went all the way back to India to find it.
Yeah, to buy one. I bought one here, but I was like, I need to make my own.
Okay.
So I went up, got one made. I mean, I was sitting with him and making one.
Oh, right.
Brought it back here.
Sort of like a custom didgeridoo then, is it?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Like custom made.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just off the shelf.
No.
Like you sit down with him and you I assume it has to do with the length and the breadth of it.
Yeah.
And what to create, what fit you and your size.
Not really,
of your...
like the mouthpiece is generic. Like you could, so the mouthpiece is the hardest to make. So he would make that, but then we would cut it to a certain length and try and tune it to like a certain key.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I went and picked the wood. I got one made with teak wood because it's very light and super hard and
it is
easy to carry around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I was playing it, and before I came to Australia, like back to Australia, I was trying to jam with this friend of mine who showed me Fruity Loops.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, yeah, I'll record you now. And then I would go to his studio and then we'd record, and he would apply effects to it and make electronic music out of it. You know, it happened a few times over, and I was like, that's it, man. I need to learn how to like record myself. And that's how I got into producing and learning Ableton properly, so I could record my didgeridoo and make a song. Yeah,
because Fruity Loops is, it was anyway, it was just a software within itself. It wasn't like a DAW, proper DAW, was it? It is now, I think.
It is.
But it wasn't.
It's come a long way.
Yeah. So you had to switch to Ableton to be able to record yourself and
yeah. Also, I just want to learn a new software, just start fresh.
Yeah.
You know, and I had a whole heap of time here in Australia. I had no friends, and you know, I just moved here. So
yeah, so that ties into so when you moved to Australia. So you moved to Australia to study, correct?
Yeah.
And it's mechanical. It was a mechanical engineering.
Yeah. Postgrad.
And you're in Wollongong.
Yeah, I was in Wollongong. Yeah.
University there, I should.
No, I went to UNSW in Sydney. Oh, but I lived in Wollongong.
All right, that's a long way to travel every day.
Every 2 days.
Every 2 days.
Yeah. So, I did have one friend who studied with me back in India. Him and his brother were living here, so I thought like, okay, I might know someone. So, in Wollongong, it'd be better for me to stay here.
Yeah. Okay.
So I love the little town. You know, it's so nice, very beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you move there, and you pick up. You decide you get your didgeridoo, decide to pick up Ableton, start learning Ableton. Did that is that where it starts to move exponentially in regards to how you create electronic music?
Yeah, because I was trying to lay down beats, and then I was trying to add some effects, and I'm like, wow, this is a cool loop, and then that loop, you know, just progress into a song, and I was like, didgeridoo is boring now. Then I just started making music, you know, like electronic music, but I wasn't really good at it. because I obviously learning and
Yeah.
here and I
Got to start somewhere.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it took me a long time to really get confident with it, and also I wanted to make like experimental music, so
Yeah.
I started dabbling with, like I said, with reactor blocks.
Yeah, so you added reactor to your. Did that work with Ableton? So
Yeah.
I've never,
It's a VST.
I remember using the really early versions of. That might have been Reason. What was the one that had like a rack and you could wire the rack? Wasn't that
Reason? Yeah,
Oh, that was Reason.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So Reactor. How did Reactor work with? Does that work with Ableton?
Yeah, as a VST.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, as a plugin. Yeah.
And Reactor, how is that work? Sorry, I'm going to pleading ignorance here.
Yeah.
So, what's the interface like?
It's pretty much it houses a bunch of instruments.
Oh, okay, right. So it's like a little so you'll have a synth and a drum machine and is that sort of?
No, you could load. Yeah, so if you load Reactor, you could load a synth in it, you could load a drum machine in it,
Yeah,
and things like that.
yeah.
And they had something called Reactor blocks, which was like the modular environment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I would just chuck in oscillators and mixers and stuff and LFOs and have no clue how to patch anything. Yeah, just like patch everything.
Just random.
Yeah, just random stuff.
See what happens.
Yeah, see what happens.
Yeah.
And slowly started learning
what they do,
and how you're supposed to make an actual synthesizer.
Because we had YouTube at this time, and you could look it up, or
sort of. There wasn't too much information about this.
Okay.
I pretty much just had to load up some patches from the Reactor user library and then see how that patched it.
Yeah. Okay.
Just to understand what was
reverse engineering.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Considering you were studying engineering, that was easy enough.
Well, I wouldn't say that really helped me shape my music stuff, but yeah, maybe I just lean towards learning things a bit different.
There's a certain way, yeah, because you mentioned earlier that when you're a kid, you'd like to break things. Speaking of break, and try to figure out how they were made, and then put them back together.
Yeah.
Which is where your probably desire for mechanical engineering came in as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My uncle was a mechanical engineer and I knew he was doing cool things. And I was like, I want to be one too. I never really liked computer science. I didn't like coding. I never really understood what that was.
Yeah.
And typing a bunch of words to generate stuff, I just didn't know what.
Can be very confusing.
Yeah, and I could never really learn things off a book. I had to be hands-on, really see it, and visualize it and stuff. So
which we can do. Yeah. Well, it's mechanical engineering is more maths, the traditional sort of maths.
Yeah.
Whereas I think coding is maths in a way, but it's with language.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is confusing. I know. I completely understand where you come from.
Yeah. So, and I think that's where I sort of lean towards more the design aspect of it because I can visualize things in space.
Yes.
Better.
Yeah.
Because of me trying to really learn things that way from a young age. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And with music, I think that's how I think about things now.
Yeah, but in a frequency spectrum as opposed to is that what you mean?
Well, in every way I would say.
Yeah.
However capacity I can in every way, frequency domain or in any aspect of music even. I'm not trained musically.
No.
But even thinking about what might go with what key, what chord might go with what, I might just visualize a mood or something,
Oh, okay.
And then base my progression based on that.
Yeah, all right. Okay. So more how to translate well, I was going to say a feeling, but I don't know if that's the right word. A mood.
Yeah.
A theme.
Yeah, a theme
into a genre.
Yeah.
Into which most genres are sort of moods, aren't they? Feelings and they trigger different emotions, different feelings and stuff. So okay, that's wild. Never thought about it that way before. I'll go back to the questions. We've actually covered quite a lot. Because we covered the didgeridoo, we covered the fruity loops, we covered when you got to Wollongong. It's amazing how many questions that I had for you that we've already covered. And you mentioned working on Ableton, but I don't think let's go back to that, actually. So working Ableton, got into Reactor, yeah. And this is all while you're in Wollongong.
Yeah.
And I remember you mentioned you went to a few parties and stuff in Wollongong, but you weren't, you were studying and stuff, so you weren't really going out and as much. And you said you knew a few people up there, but you didn't know a lot. And you moved to Melbourne at some point. So tell us about that transition of living in Wollongong and then moving to Melbourne and getting into the Melbourne scene.
Right. So I finished my uni. I was looking for work. I took a holiday and came to Melbourne to meet some friends who'd moved here. And then I think on the first night we went to a party and there was Psytrance playing. Yeah. And there's like a whole other stage with sort of glitch hop and the other, bass music stuff going on as well. Yeah. And I saw that there were a bunch more parties that were happening every other weekend. And also I wanted to move away from Wollongong and not be in Sydney,
Any particular reason, or just is this because like there was more things going on in regards to what became a passion for you and started making music? Or
yeah, that, and also a bunch of other things, just having more friends here, and moving to a new place, and I could, why not?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I was like, screw it, let me just go.
Yeah.
And I moved to Melbourne and really explored like what's going on with the music scene for some time. And
so you're going to parties, getting to know people.
Yeah. So, and then a bunch of artists that I used to listen to while growing up, like, were playing here.
Oh, right.
When I moved. So it was just like locked in for
Australian artists?
No, Russian and bunch of like European artists.
Oh, so the Aussie guys were bringing them over, and so so you got to see
Indian crew bringing them over.
Oh yeah,
yeah. There's an Indian crew running parties. They still do on and off, and a bunch of Aussies as well. Like they used to bring these like acts that I kind of missed, like listening to on a big sound system.
I mean, Aussie promoters.
Yeah,
I don't care where you're from. If you're here doing something, you're an Aussie as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Aussie promoters, from an Indian background.
Yeah.
And that's the crew that you run with now, or so to speak, that you
partly, yeah.
Yeah, like, because a lot of the things I see with, what are they called again?
Mithya music.
How do you pronounce it?
Mithya.
Yeah.
They were doing a lot more parties back in the day. And then there's also a few others like Thalam Records.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, which a friend of mine used to run, and he still runs it, but he moved back to India a couple of months ago.
All right.
But I'm doing all his label management and things, releases and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and trying to do 1 or 2 parties a year here, just to keep the name floating about.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. And keep all those, I suppose, because you end up with crews. I mean, not that we've got a crew, but once you create a network, that's what I'm trying to think of the word. Network would be you create a network, and if you don't give them a platform, if someone doesn't put on an event, there's nowhere to play, right? Unless they've created a name for themselves and they're doing okay. And there's a lot of other events that are putting on the same type of music. Yeah, you sort of have to create it yourself otherwise, right? Yeah. And if you don't have that, then you've got nowhere to play, right?
True.
Yeah, which is sort of what we're doing now. So you've moved to Melbourne. You've met this crew and you're working in Ableton. When does your transition from software to hardware begin?
Right, so I was still like dabbling really hard with reactor blocks. I was never really finishing music because I wasn't really sure what sort of music I want to make. I was trying to make psytrance. I was trying to make like break beats trying to make bass music and a lot of things, but I was now finishing music because I just didn't feel like it was there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think in 2019 something just shifted in me.
Okay.
Not really sure what or why.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just need to, just dive into this modular world.
So how did modular even come onto the radar?
Oh, because I was using reactor blocks, and I was watching modular videos online to see how they were patching and try and do the same thing.
Okay, so sort of like on Insta or whatever, you saw people.
Yeah, on Insta, on YouTube.
Yeah. Okay.
But I did know about modulars like back in the day as well, because I've seen like the big Moog synths, and I've seen Richard Devine and Richard Devine and like the rest of
the but you see that, and you a lot of the time when you see the big names doing stuff, you think it's out of reach, but I assume you saw more casual artists using it on Instagram, and you go, okay, this is if they're doing it, I can do it, right?
Yeah. So I just took the plunge and bought a bunch of modules first. I spoke to a few friends of mine who have been into this for a while, and they advised me as to like how to approach it, what to get first. Build a big case and then you'll cut it down small as well.
Okay, that was the opposite. Okay.
So and I was like, okay, this is a commitment. Let me just, I'm just gonna go as deep as I can.
Yeah, head first.
Yeah, so I just started building stuff. Slowly gathered things and voices and envelopes and modulation sources. Then I got a sequencer.
Yes.
And then I got your ER301, which changed it all.
No, my pleasure.
Yeah, but then I had also got my Octatrack around the same time.
Yeah, right.
And I spent a lot of time learning it inside out.
Okay, so this was one of my questions, and before you get right into that, and we'll go back to the Octatrack, especially in the rig rundown, but yeah, because you got into modular first, which is sort of a little bit odd, because usually people will buy a piece of hardware that like a little groove box or a little drum machine or a synth first, but you actually didn't do that, is that right? You actually got into modular as your first piece of hardware.
Yeah, because I learned synthesis through software modular. I never really learned how to synthesize a sound on say Serum or Operator as well as I could, like the sounds that I wanted to hear,
Yeah, okay.
So I guess that's why, I never really wanted a
synth,
hardwired synth.
Yeah.
Because I felt like it's got its restrictions.
Yeah.
And it probably does just that few things, maybe 1,000 things, but it's 1,000 things,
It does this, it has a sound and does that really well.
Yeah.
But you can spend a lot of money on a synth that has a sound and does it really well. Whereas with modular, you can do what you want.
Yeah.
Design a synth that you want to design.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. And you have done that.
Yeah. I can't believe it, but yeah. Looking back, I'm just like, whoa.
Well, it's been 6 years. We're in 2025. That was back in 2019.
Yeah, end of 2019.
Yeah, probably about the same time that I started, because funnily enough, I didn't start large. I started small and then went huge. Still have the monster case. But once I'm there, I went back again and went, okay, I'm going to make a techno case. And then I concentrated on that one case, and that's probably been going since around that same time. I decided, okay, I'm going to, compact. It's going to be a musical instrument within itself. It's going to have a purpose, right? And that's what your modular has become a purpose. But you're working with that with the Octatrack, which we're going to see a little bit in a little bit. So let's go back to the Octatrack then. You said that changed everything for you? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, and in what way?
Because, I wanted to play live, which means playing more than one song.
Yes.
Yeah. And be able to do like transitions.
Yes.
And play a 1 hour set, maybe a 3 hour set someday.
Oh,
that's like a full journey,
Yeah.
And this gives you the flexibility that you need in a lot of different ways. I made a set with just like single shot sounds,
A whole set.
A whole set with like a bunch of single short like sounds, 128 single short sounds.
How the hell? I won't go in. I won't ask you. Actually, we'll be here too long you trying to explain that. So
that was the first set that I played, like
that's
fully live. Yeah, with my modular Octatrack and the Digeridoo.
Yeah. Okay.
Then it was too tedious, and it wasn't the best sounding set. And I figured another way to do things that'll be enjoyable both for the listener and for me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. More simpler for you, I assume. Like, no. Has it got more complex, but you've got better at it?
It takes a lot of work to set it up.
Yeah.
And to plan the flow.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. That's a different thing. But it does make it a bit easy for you to perform a really good sounding set.
Yeah. Okay.
It is
through the Octatrack.
Through the Octatrack and the modular.
Because you mentioned you've done a shed like yeah, this was one of my questions, so we'll get into that now as well. Because you basically have a live case and you have sound design case or cases in your studio, right?
Yep.
So you consider them two different elements that well the sound design ends up coming into the live set, but through creation of samples that you've created, then engineered and then put into either the samplers on your modular or on your Octatrack, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So, like for example, my kick and snares, like I make it on Bitwig. Now I've switched to Bitwig, like it's been 5 years now. I make my kick, snares, percussion, everything on Bitwig.
Oh wow! Right.
Sometimes I obviously use like sample libraries and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'll just mangle it beyond recognition.
Yeah.
And I'll be recording a lot of my modular for different projects. So I know where all the sounds are. So I would just go and pick and choose and like make sequences and things and load them up onto my samplers.
So how much sound design do you do with the modular? Like, do you spend a lot of time doing sound design in regards to modular? Like,
are you talking about my live sets?
Even at home, like, you know, just like experimenting. Like tonight, I'm not going to work on my live set. I'm just going to have some fun, mess with my modular. Let's see where we go. Or do you have an idea about? I think I need some sort of type of sound within the live set to put something and go create something, or how does the sound design side of the studio work?
Okay, so I split my time in two, I would say. Was for studio production, like for albums and music, and music that I want to release.
Yeah.
And the other stuff is for my live sets.
Oh, okay. Right.
So for my for the production stuff that I want, my albums or whatever I'm going to release, it's a lot of sound design from both the cases.
Right. Okay. Live and the others.
Yeah. Pretty much.
It's a combination of both when you...
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would set a loop, say 16-bar loop, and then I'd make a sequence on the modular, laying down the beat, record a bunch of stuff, and then chop and edit.
Yeah.
You know, just keep doing that till it's time to go to bed.
And then putting some sound design in behind that, like in regards to...
Yeah. So I'd do my sound design on my case, on my on the DAW. It's a mixed bunch of things.
Yeah.
I would use samples, I'd mangle them. I'd take those samples, put it in my modular and mangle it.
Yeah.
I'd send sounds back into my modular, my whole master mix into my modular, mangle it. Yeah. So if I've got a melody, then I would I want the same sort of tonality, harmonics and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not really sure how to resynthesize this. Then I would just send it into my panharmonium. And then I would make like weird textures and things.
Yeah.
Fill it back in and then layer them. So I use it for layering, for sound design, for anything, you know, there's just...
The panharmonium you're talking about. I've always been interested in that module.
A lot of people hate...
Synth tech. Was it? Synth tech?
No, panharmonium is Rossum. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like it because they think
Yeah.
that it's got one single sound.
Yeah.
I blame them because
It's more, but it's the sound design. There's a sound design tool obviously excels.
Yeah, because it's got a bit of lag because it's like it's listening to something and then spitting something out.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't use it in a live case.
Yeah.
I might, but like not right now. So I would just like record stuff off it and then place it in grid in my DAW.
Yeah, it's almost not too dissimilar to how you might use, a couple of things, a looper or a granular synth as well, right? Where what I'm saying is you're putting things in to mess with it, and then do you use those as well? Do you use loopers and granular and
everything?
Yeah,
everything. Yeah.
I
do feedback loops. I do like feedback, like sequencer feedback techniques.
All right.
A lot of other things that I can't do in a DAW,
Yeah.
I need like 2 DAWs to do this.
Yeah, really?
Like parallelly, yeah. The things that I want to do.
Yeah.
It's not genius or crazy stuff, but it's just, things that I want to do.
Yeah. Do you find working within the hardware modular space or like easier, as in more satisfying, or for you there's no difference?
There's no difference.
No, yeah.
It's just a creative outlet. It's just me like trying to make music.
Yeah.
With
it doesn't matter what you're making it on. Doesn't affect you. You have no feeling towards working in a DAW or hardware or anything like that.
Even if I've got like one single color, I can still paint, but it's nice to have 10,000 colors.
Sometimes it does, yeah.
Yeah, for me, I just like that because I just don't want to be in a place where I have hit a brick wall or a creative block.
So why restrict yourself to your modular?
Why restrict myself to?
Sorry, I interrupted you there. So you're not restricting yourself with the modular. You got the DAW and you can go everywhere in it.
Yeah. I love using software synths.
Yeah.
I love using my hardware.
Yeah.
I love using samples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why restrict yourself?
No, I like using certain AI plugins to learn stuff.
Yeah.
For example, if I want to deconstruct a beat, but sometimes I just won't be able to, So I would just like stem separate it and try and understand what this beat is about. What's the time signature, or like what this is. And if I hear a certain kind of a chord or a melody, and then I would extract that and chug it onto this plugin. Not a plugin, it's a website that can key track for you.
Yeah.
Show you what key or what chord it is.
Yeah.
That's an AI plugin. And then I know this is the chord. And then I would go and make those chords and try. And since I'm not musically trained, I'll have to tinker around. And something totally different comes out,
Yeah.
So I use everything that's at my disposal.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not restricting yourself at all.
As long as it's helping me make music, that's all I care.
Yeah, why not? It's not actually making the music. It's you're just using it as a tool.
Yeah.
So do you think your study in mechanical engineering has helped you with your sound design and your arrangements?
I'm not really sure because I wasn't really a good student. I never really studied, I just like studied enough to clear my exams. Yeah, and because I was pretty sure that I wouldn't use any of this in the real world.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, of course, it probably has helped me.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, it's
somehow, without you realizing.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
A lot of maths.
Yeah, a lot of math, but I wasn't really good at math until I was like 15, but then I started acing all my exams after.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so
I clicked some point.
Yeah, so I think I was good at math, like because I could do it a certain way in my head, not the way like my teacher used to teach me, so it's always been a way of...
So you found a way.
Yeah, so even if you put me in music school, I probably would suck at it.
But I suppose through your study and how you maybe rewired and relearned, taught yourself to learn in a way that worked for you.
Yeah.
You're doing the same thing
exactly
with your music, right?
Yeah,
creation and your production, right?
So there is credit. I mean, I have to give credit to that because that's what helped me do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But in the end, I think it's just, I don't know. I'm just working hard.
How would you describe your style of music?
It can be a bit confusing, but it's a lot of influence from ambient music, IDM, psytrance, the more hectic side of psytrance, everything put together, I guess.
Yeah. So it's sort of genre bending at the moment. When you say, like, you're one of the few people that, because I've had people ask me, I've probably mentioned this before on the show, but they ask me, oh, what genre should I do? And I'm like, well, don't do any genre, do you. And that can be an amalgamation of all the things that you like, right? And that's you've done that to a T. You've done exactly what you want to do, and you're creating your own. You've almost created your own style out of that. Yeah,
I think so. I mean, it's still getting there. It's never going to be as good as I want it to be, of course, but it's getting there. Yeah,
this is the road.
Yeah,
this is the path, right? And you just keep going down it. Good bands, even, good musicians, good artists, never stand still. They're always moving. They're always evolving, right? And that's why you'll always get better and always be an artist, because you're never fully satisfied with what you're doing. You might be happy in a moment with something that you've created, but that will never last. It always continues and always moves on. Yeah. And so you'll forever be getting better, I reckon.
I hope so, yeah.
So let's a couple of more questions. So I want to cover this because you've got some plans for some events in Melbourne. So quickly tell us about those.
It's me and two of my other friends, we're starting this collective called Shut Up and Dance.
Yeah.
And we plan to do a bunch of parties in and around. I'm doing one on the 28th at 6:12 in the city.
Oh, okay.
It's an IDM.
Oh, that's this month?
Yeah.
Yeah, so unfortunately we pre-record this, so so keep an eye out for the one after. Shut Up and Dance. Now, just quickly tell me why Shut Up and Dance.
Because people are just like, they're always talking on the dance floor. It's not that. It was just something cheeky that we came up with.
Yeah, so
I just wanted to
put your phone down, stop talking, get on the dance floor and shut up and dance.
Yeah, and also it's a bit like aggressive, not really, it can be funny.
Cheeky.
It's a bit cheeky, so,
Yeah.
Yeah, just something catchy and people can talk about.
Yeah, and future plans for you? Anything happening? Any tours or any albums for Braek?
So I am working on an album at the moment. I'm not really sure when it's going to be done. I do have plans for an EP as well. Yeah, gigs, nothing lined up for now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just want to focus on my music, and I'm going to be throwing an odd event here and there.
What?
An odd event, like, here and there.
With the guys. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You won't be playing at those or anything?
I will be.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. So they're the gigs you've got lined up for.
Yeah, sort of, because I just want to be able to make a live set every 2 months. So that way by end of the year, I have like 4 hours of live music that I've done and an album out. So my goals every year is to make close to 4 hours of music.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Released?
Release, unreleased, doesn't matter.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, with regards to a live set or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because last year, probably I made 2.5 hours of music in total.
Yeah, okay.
So, and this year I want it to be 4 hours.
All right. That's very precise. We could talk more about that, but we haven't got any more time. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And if you want to go see Braek, look out for Shut Up and Dance and go and see him play there. Now, we'll thank you very much, and we'll move into the live jam, and we'll have a look at your quite small rig before that. And thanks for joining us. Much appreciated.
Thank you for having me.